My mom, who has been dead now for over 5 years, called this time of year the song-interrupted season. When someone would die, she would always say their song was interrupted. She loved music. Late October is filled with so many remembrances of death and departed ones. All Souls Day, All Saints Day, El Dia de los Muertos, the Day of the Dead, Samhain, Halloween. And so for my mom then, this time of year became the song-interrupted season. In the spirit of this season, I want to share with you the story of a jazz singer and of a song interrupted. I first heard Susannah McCorkle sing about 27 years ago at this time of year in late October when I was working as a radio broadcaster and theater producer here in Boston. I can still remember the first song I ever heard her sing. It was called The People You Never Get to Love. She sang of the human ache of living with lost potential. Her voice was smooth and caressing, but filled with this unmistakable sadness. It was as if the cumulative regret of the universe had found a gentle doorway to cry through. Susannah McCorkle vibrated with the loss we feel when we do not risk choosing life, when we do not risk making connections with each other. Her voice solely sung through the sounds of the song. She sang of a chance encounter in a used bookstore and of other fleeting moments of missed opportunity. And yet she also somehow sang of so much more. These were the words she sang. You're browsing through a second-hand bookstore, and you see him in nonfiction, V through Y. He looks up from World War II, and then you catch him catching you, catching his eye. So you quickly turn away your wishful stare and take a sudden interest in your shoes. If you only had the courage, but you don't, he turns and leaves, and you both lose. Or you'll see him on a train that you've just missed, at a bus stop where your bus will never stop, or in a passing Buick when you've been pulled over by a traffic cop. Or you'll share an elevator, just you two, and you'll rise in total silence to the floor. Like the fool you are, you get off, and he leaves your life behind a closing door. And you think about the people that you never get to love, the poem that you intended to begin. The saddest words that anyone has ever said are, Lord, what might have been. And you think about the people that you never got to love. Susannah McCorkle also sang songs of people you do get to love. Her jazz repertoire included an astounding 3,000 songs by memory, 200 of which she recorded on 17 albums. Her songs were by Cole Porter, George Gershwin, Irving Berlin, the songwriters of the Great American Songbook. And her songs were also by more contemporary composers such as Billy Strayhorn, Dave Frishberg, and Paul Simon. Her songs, too, reflected her love of Brazilian pop, and a performance of Susannah's would most often include some Portuguese song stylings. Has anybody heard Susannah's voice on a record? Does anybody know her work? No. I wish you could have heard her sing. How to describe this voice? It was so light as it floated among the notes, yet weighed down by a palpable melancholy. She tended to hang back a bit behind the beat, moving like a stealthy cat stalking her prey. Entering into a song with her was like waiting in the pause before the pounce. You quivered in concentrated anticipation, and then you were sprung into sharp but luscious embrace. She was born on January 4th, 1946 in Berkeley, California. Her father, an anthropologist, took teaching positions at colleges around the country, so she traveled a great deal while she was growing up. That was hard on her. She never felt like she belonged anywhere. After high school, she enrolled at the University of California at Berkeley, where she majored in Italian literature. In the late 60s, disillusioned with American politics, as I'm sure some of you were as well, she dropped out of college and traveled to Europe to study languages and to begin a literary career. It was while she was living in Paris that she discovered American jazz, when a friend played her a recording of Billie Holiday singing, "I've Got a Right to Sing the Blues." She left Paris in 1972 and moved to London, where she began singing with a band. Before long, she was eking out a living performing in English pubs. Jazz singing gave her the sense of belonging that eluded her in ordinary life. She said, "Before jazz, I had always been solitary and introverted. As a singer, I began meeting other people who were solitary and introverted, but who were also great jazz musicians. It was like finding my tribe." Susanna returned to the United States in the late 1970s. Championed by music critics and disc jockeys, she built a modest but solid career. But her public success came at a price. The captivating melancholy of her music rose from the overwhelming melancholy of her life. She struggled with lifelong depression. Her internal pain was compounded by a diagnosis of cancer. Despite the support of her friends and doctors, Susanna believed her pain had become too great for her to live with. One early morning in May of 2001, she wrote a note, placed her will on the desk, walked over to the window of her 16th floor apartment on New York City's Upper West Side, and leapt to her death. For Susanna McCorkle and those who loved her, her song was tragically interrupted. The saddest words that anyone has ever said are, "Lord, what might have been." Susanna McCorkle's death touched me deeply. It made me think of all the songs we sing beneath the surface of our lives, the personal, painful songs sung only in the secret corners of our own heart, the isolated songs, the secret songs that separate us one from another, the songs that keep us from belonging, the songs that keep us alone. Her death made me think about all our different songs interrupted in some way, the plans, the hopes, the dreams, the promises, and the loves, the songs that sing, "O Lord, what might have been." Today, 12 years after she left us, Susanna McCorkle's death reminds me how blessed we are when we find human connection, when we claim human connection, when we risk to find a sense of belonging and true community. It reminds me of how blessed we are to have been led to this place, this church, this sanctuary. Her death reminds me how fortunate we are to have this community, a community in which each of us can heal, hope, transform, reflect, laugh, cry, make mistakes, learn, grow, serve, and sing our songs together. But being here involves risk. Being here together invites courage. Being here together demands participation. For unlike in Susanna's song, a spiritual community is not a used bookstore where we can hide in the stacks and stare at our shoes and let yet another chance walk away. This spiritual community challenges each of us to sing our songs, the public and the private ones. This is a place where every voice needs to be heard. even when we might seem slightly off key. Let us risk singing our songs. Let us together keep singing our songs, telling our stories, hearing our stories without interruption. Let not one of us feel so isolated that a window seems the only option. Let us truly risk being together. Don't let these people around you become the people you never get to love. Take the risk to reach out. Say hello to someone you don't know, and then stay and really listen to what needs to be said beyond that hello. Don't let these people become the people you never get to love. Take the risk to care. Help someone who needs you now. Help them again to sing their song. Don't let these people around you become the people you never get to love. Despite all our imperfections and unskillfulness, look and listen beneath the surface to see and hear the beautiful humanity just waiting to be acknowledged. Don't let these people around you become the people you never get to love. Take the risk to share. You have gifts inside you more worthy than you can even imagine. What part of yourself can you bring and share that will lift us up? And don't let the people around us become the people we never get to love. There's so many people beyond these walls who need to feel the warmth and light of our Unitarian Universalist faith. There's so many people beyond these walls who need to feel the caring embrace of this, our church community. How can we share what we have found here? How can we tell others that there is a place where the inherent worth and dignity of each person is celebrated, where the preciousness of the interdependent web of all creation is named and understood and valued, where we join together to nurture our spirit and to help heal the world? Don't let the people around us become the people we never get to love. How can we heed the call of our Unitarian Universalist faith to stand publicly and proudly on the side of love? In what ways can our caring hearts and helping hands combine to do something for someone else, for a community different from our own, so that we act in ways that expand the boundaries of our compassion and build up the broken? How can we make a difference in the lives of others who are different and yet not so different from our own? How can we make a difference, as a small group of our congregation will do this morning when they head off after this service with Betsy, our intern minister, to downtown Lowell to take a vacant lot and work together to turn it into a new community garden that will be seeded this spring and provide fresh vegetables and opportunity for community in a place that knows far too little of both? How can we sing our song so loudly and proudly that all of the communities north of Boston will hear its sound? For there is a song within us, within this church, so mighty it has the power to move mountains. There's a song among us so gentle it has the power to make all things new. There is a song beyond us so loving it has the power to renew the face of the earth. Let us never, ever sing, Lord, what might have been. Let not our song be interrupted, but as the songwriter writes, let our song sing forever on. May it be so. Blessed be. Amen.